So as you all know, I'm a big fan of anything punk related. But ever since computer-based music began to populate every slot on the Billboard charts, we began to see various genres, which include any sort of band setup, slowly take a step back into the shadows of the industry. Sad story indeed. Not to say bands don't exist anymore, but the mainstream get what the mainstream want. Big name artists are now solo acts powered by unspecified producers and engineers spending their days in dark rooms while record labels fight for a spot to secure the next hit on a Spotify playlist. The industry seems to be going in an interesting direction indeed. But it's not all that bad. As the mainstream playlists become ever more monotonous with the same old songs playing over and over, slowly eating itself alive, we've seen the underground go about its day as if nothing ever happened. But this is what makes this whole new-aged punk era interesting. Since not every artist is willing to go fully punk, we've seen rappers and pop stars take elements of the sound and apply it to their own projects. From Juice WRLD to Internet Money, Iann, Dior, and maybe even Polo G unknowingly rapping over guitar-sampled beats that cause him to subconsciously flow in the same melodic scale as many other older punk artists would. Obviously with their screaming, of course, but you get the idea. If you listen to a lot of punk, you'll find these influences from time to time, just as you would listening to a Weeknd song taking influence from an 80s cocaine-filled fantasy, or just watching a Dr. Disrespect stream. It's the same thing over and over, just a little bit different. I wonder what'll come next. Until then though, we'll take a look at Machine Gun Kelly's single, Bloody Valentine, as it follows a similar storyline, obviously taking influence from a definitely cleaner cut, mainstream punk sound, we would now define as pop punk. I'll break down how I mixed my own vocals over the track. Check the link in the description below for the FLP, as well as to my amazing vocal recording course, as well as vocal mixing course. Don't forget to smash that like, shout out notification squad, let's get it. Alright, let's get straight into it. So pretty much I'll play the track for you and then we'll break down all of the cool vocal chains. Let's get it.
Been up all week, I just can't sleep. You've been suffocating me, I can't breathe. Stuck in place and I just can't leave. Words in my head, but I just can't speak. In my head, I think I'm drowning, what the fuck? In my head, I'm way too gone, you can't save me. Yeah, all this time we've been wasting, sipping champagne, now we wasted. Fell asleep in the stars, ooh, now I'm jaded. Looking at my watch and I'm running out of time. Like, I can't keep on living like this. Oh, she can't keep on living like this. We can't keep on living like this. Shooting at your heart and I just might miss.
I can't hide how I feel about you inside. I give everything up tonight. If I could just have you be mine, baby. I can't hide how I feel about you inside. I give everything.
Ah man, that's enough. That's pretty cool, right? So yeah man, pretty much let's break it down. So first off, I always like to talk about what we actually have. I'll run through that quickly. We have got a main vocal. We have got one cool doubler. I wish I actually did a few more of these doublers. It would have been nice to kind of pop them in and out. I really wanted that nice and upfront, metallic, almost slap delay sounding double. We've also got a modern doubler, which is just something as a nice accent to the main vocal, just complementary. And we've got some BG left and right, background left and right, just to really fill up the heavy parts of the track. And as you can see, our main vocal really sticks through even on the really, full parts of the mix. So that's what we're really going to be focusing on. So first things first, let's kind of just go for the main vocal chain. So as you can see, we'll get rid of that. We don't need that at all. Autotune, I didn't want to do too much autotune, right? So I've gone for 8. And, even at 8, 10, 12, you can really get away with really just tuning your vocals without actually having it sound too robotic. I don't think you already heard the auto-tune. So, that works for this track. This track is in A major, so that's pretty much what we're using. And the cool thing about 8.1 is it has the low latency mode. So if you do not have this, definitely check out Auto-Tune Access, and whatnot, and get going. After that, I just like to use a NoiseGate. It's part of my vocal sound, I guess. So it'll always be there. You can use the Fruity limiter if you'd like to. So over here I've just left this one I didn't use, but really I kind of tested out what flavors of 1176 I wanted. If you're going to be doing this rock, pop, punk, modern pop sound, whatever, you're always going to find your mix or the mixer would have used a 1176 leveling amplifier with a bit of input, with a bit of output. And really, somebody asked me recently, how do you set these up? And really what you do is, I want you to okay, so this one I'm not using, so we'll just pretend that we have the vocal playing, and really all we do is we turn this down to nothing, and then we turn this up to 18. This is going to be a good starting point. I like to have 3, and between 5 and 7 is going to be my release generally. But what I do is then I have this kind of zeroed in right here, and then I slowly bring up the input up until the point where I'm doing about 3 dB of compression, and then maybe 5 to 7 dB on the loud part. So if I was just to play, I ended up going with this, I think this is a revision, this is the revision E, which is quite smooth. This one is a bit more kind of heavy sounding, but if I just play a little bit,
stuck in place and I just can't leave. Words in my head, but I just can't speak. In my head, I think I'm drowning. What the?
So as you can see, as I guessed, right, I don't even have to say it anymore. I'm just kind of always aiming for 3. I don't really want to go too crazy. On extremely loud parts, I will compress up to 7, but this generally works for me. So, you can try that out. Definitely check out for some free 1176 plugins. There's some really cool stuff out there. But yeah, man, definitely check out I think it is the Fetish by Analog Obsession, which is really nice. I used that in a video recently. But anyway, after that, so once we've kind of done our analog style stuff and then our auto-tune, I always like to send my vocal towards a vocal chain where I'm going to be doing the bulk of the processing. So first thing I like to use is the Farai's vocal enhancer. So if you are an FL Studio user, this is actually utilizing Fruity Patcher, and I've pretty much created a really cool interface for some really cool enhancements. So you've got your input level, you've got your input drive, which is kind of the distortion amount, so you can distort it more if you really want to get that nice punk sound, pop punk sound. And then you can kind of use an overall EQ tone that's kind of like a tilt EQ, just to really kind of help you. If you want less bass, you can go for more air. If you want more bass, you can go for obviously less air. And a bit of tube distortion, bit of EQ. So what I'm really doing is toning. I'm using some nice old school methods just to really get rid of some of the nasty stuff, enhance some of the beautiful aspects of a vocal, and just adjusting the output level. So that's pretty cool. After that, we're definitely going to be using an SSL channel strip. As you know, I'm a big fan of Solid State Logic. What a cool company. And this is the native version. Today I decided to go with it because I wanted a more clean vocal sound. So I think this is emulating the, if I'm not mistaken, possibly the 9000 series, the J or the K. All that really means is that it is much cleaner, it is much more pristine and accurate of an EQ, versus, let's just say, the 4000 E and G were a bit more gritty and kind of had a cool sound to it. This is cool when you really just want to do tone shaping, and that's pretty much it. This might even be emulating the duality, I don't know. But the compressor's clean. I'm a big fan of using the compressor as well by them, which we'll talk about just now. But yeah, and as you can see, I'm just rolling off some of the low end, getting rid of some of that nasty bass, right? So around there, that's pretty much what's happening. After that, I'm dipping away some of 200. Again, I'm dipping away 200. And then I like to do a little 3K boost usually if I want to kind of bring some of that vocal kind of, I don't know what the word is, the intelligibility out of the vocal. I'll bring out some of that. And then a nice classic rock 8K boost. This is always the secret to getting that kind of rock, shiny vocal sound. Crystal at LG has one of these consoles, or 6000 or something. But yeah, you're always going to be doing an 8K boost and just kind of, see how much of that you want. A little bit of compression just to really tuck the vocal in, and you're good to go. If I turn this off and I turn this off, you can kind of pay attention to what that sounds like.
In my head, I think I'm drowning. What the fuck?
Just a little bit cleaner, just a little bit more organized. So not really doing too much, but definitely important. So after that, man, a little bit of de-essing. I'm not really gonna, I think I'm doing a max of 5.
In my head,
Where's the spiffy part?
I'm way too gone, you can't save me.
5 at max, right? Pretty cool. Just to pop in here and there, you should generally be trying your best to record without too much sibilance. A really good tip is to, as you can see, my microphone is not pointed directly at me. So if you are having problems getting your stuff sounding less trebly, definitely just aim your mouth away from the actual capsule and you're going to get a much smoother vocal tone. So that's my tip. And that's pretty much how I record it, and all I need to do is tuck away some of the nasty bits. So there you go, that's pretty much what that's for. After that, we introduce a little bit of H delay, and all this is doing is kind of, it's not even a slap, it's 15 milliseconds, but it is just creating a little bit of a flangy sound on the vocal. If I was to turn that up, what are we on right there? 8.
I'm way too gone, you can't save me. Yeah, all this time we've been wasting, sipping champagne, now we wasted.
As you can hear, when I turned it up, it kind of became flangy and strange, but tucked in at 8%, perfect. It's really going to help you get that kind of wider rock sound. You definitely want to enable the ping pong on there as well. I'll create a cool preset in the FreeVST version, so check that out. After that, you know, I was thinking earlier on, man, I was thinking like, this is one of the only free compressors out there that actually compresses. Like it really does. You can really hear the compression, especially when you use the trick that I've been using, which is really to keep the threshold around -24 and then to turn the ratio up all the way to infinity. So it's pretty much just forever compressing, it's clamping down. And what I do then is I turn the attack all the way to the fastest value, and then the release I kind of set dependent on the material that I have, and I parallel compress it or I don't. But this thing will clamp down on anything. Come on, Windows. But anyway, yeah, perfect stuff. So after that, man, a little bit of FabFilter EQ, going Alex DeMay on here, just really, you know, not doing much, but just kind of 0.6 cuts here and there, really focusing on, you know, 200 up to 500, just getting rid of all that gunk, you know, just making sure the vocal sits, and then just getting rid of some of that heavy stuff. Why does this never leave? Anyway, okay. So yeah, man, and then that's pretty much it. You know, if you really want to get that clean cut sound, you can go for linear phase mode. It is going to use a lot more CPU. You don't want to be doing that while recording, but sometimes zero latency mode just has a bit more of a kind of gritty sound, so I like that. After that, definitely going to be doing a bit of multiband compression just to really help smooth massage in the vocals, so it just kind of sits in the mix, right? So if you want to see how much we're doing,
I'm way too gone, you can't save me. Yeah, all this time we've been wasting.
pretty cool, right? So yeah, man, after that, this part actually comes in on the chaotic bit of the track. So when things get crazy, I just wanted to open up the main vocal a little bit, so the instruments had a bit of space. I don't know if you ever want to do this, but this is a really nice little trick to do that. It's just to introduce a little bit of kind of stereo flanges. So
Running out of time, like I can't keep on living like this. No, she can't keep on living like this. We can't keep on living like this.
can you hear how the main vocal kind of like, you know, just fits in, everything has more space. So that's really cool. You kind of always hear this effect on the radio, you know what I mean? So I don't know, just reminds me of the radio effect. But yeah, man, after that, you know, I did a video on this the other day on how to glue your vocals on the vocal bus. As you know, all of the vocals are, the background vocals, which we'll talk about just now, are all heading into this all vocals channel, which is essentially a vocal bus. And why not add a bus compressor onto the vocal bus? So
Running out of time, like
and as you can see, I'm just doing 1 to 2 dB of compression on there, just to really tuck the vocals in and glue them together. I generally don't change these presets on the vocal bus, because if I kind of have a good starting point, I'll introduce this about halfway through the mix, I'll turn it on, and then I'll know, okay, are my vocals too loud, right? If I'm seeing 4 dB of compression, I need to tuck my vocals back, and that's when you start seeing me pull these back, you know, these faders back. But yeah, there you go, you know, pretty cool, pretty sweet and simple. L1 limiter just to really set the output ceiling, you know what I mean, in accordance to the beat. So I just want to make sure that that's sounding good and great. And yeah, so pretty much on this double right here, if I just play a little bit of that for you, let's kind of solo that out.
yeah, I'm way too gone, you can't save me.
There you go, I'm gonna come back with the Autotune, right, full on. And then, you know, the bit of NoiseGate, so I can really go crazy with the EQ. And all I'm really doing is getting rid of some of the lower 50 hertz, and then I am using the filters on this just to really, you know, the filters are gonna allow you to kind of focus on a set frequency, so that it doesn't really sound too big. You know, if I turn this off,
Yeah, I'm way too gone, you can't save me.
that's not going to work as a kind of background effect, because there's too much going on, and your ear, especially in the treble region, is definitely going to be distracted if there are you know, 2 vocals with the same amount of treble. You don't want that, right? So you kind of tuck that in. So
My head, I'm way too gone, you can't save me.
so if I play that with and without, this is without,
Gone, you can't save me.
that's not too nice. That you'd probably only want to hear once, but this, you know, this blends into the mix real nice. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the doubler right there. The modern doubler would be this one right here.
Yeah, all this time we've been wasting, sipping champagne, now we wasted. Fell asleep in the stars, ooh, now I'm jaded. Looking at my watch and I'm running out of time, like I can't keep on living like this. She can't keep.
And this is the one that you can really use as an attitude effect. As you can hear, I'm really going crazy on parts of that verse right there. So pretty cool. What I'm doing is I'm using full Autotune just to really get, or not full, but 4, just to get things you know, sounding a bit more kind of robotic and cool, aggressive. NoiseGate, and this is really where we get that spacey sound, the first bit of spacing effects. This is the H910. In professional studios, as you can see, the Eventide has, or Eventide have modeled it just like the old school, where people would buy 2 of these and then stack them up in stereo, and then you would kind of mess with the settings on each end, and you'd get this really cool effect. But really, I just used 26% of it, 27% of it, just to create a bit of a with sound, so with and without. Let's just kind of go to some of the cooler parts here.
Looking at my watch and I'm running out of time like I can't keep on.
That's cool, but that's not sounding so saucy once we turn that on.
Looking at my watch and I'm running out of time like I can't.
And suddenly we got that kind of depth and space, that kind of nice vintage rock sound. So yeah, man, after that, a little bit of SSL EQ. As you can see, I'm a big fan of the SSL EQs on every vocal channel. And yeah, as you can see, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Filtering, definitely, just like before. Boosting the high end, definitely going crazy on 600. You know, I love doing that. And tucking away 200, compression. Done deal. Okay, after that, a little bit of S1 just to enhance this effect, and then I actually had the reverb before the S1, so that would also enhance the reverb, but for some reason this just sounded cooler. So definitely always mess around with the plugin order. Sometimes things start to blend in better. So for example, if I
looking at my watch and I'm running out of time like I can't keep on living like this. She can't.
it just sounds more in the beat when the reverb is after the S1, which is technically wrong, but why not, right, if it sounds good. But really what I'm using the stereo room for is pretty much just to create a slap effect, essentially, or like a kind of boxy room sound. You know, mixing it at 18%, I don't want the whole reverb effect, but we do a little pre-delay and then the shortest decay time possible, so that it really sounds like a room sound. And what's cool about this plugin is you can set the position from front to back. So really cool plugin. I wish I could buy a real one of these. They're really cool. But yeah, man, after that, just an L1 just to really crush it.
Looking at my watch and I'm running out of time like I can't keep on living like this.
It's been a while since I've seen this old interface. What are we sitting on? 17 minutes. But yeah, I miss this interface, man. Back in the old studio days, this is where it's at. But yeah, man. So yeah, and then just a little bit of EQ toning. Background vocals, nothing crazy. I mean, these are really thin in the mix, so they're not really too important.
I can't keep on living like this. Oh, she can't keep on living like this. We can't keep on living like this. Shooting at your heart and I just might miss.
And really that is just a kind of add-on to the main vocal. DBX compressor, I really like this chain, just an EQ into a DBX compressor. I would probably use this at a normal studio as well. So really cool. So that's pretty much all of the vocal elements we have. We got a little bit of the sends going on, a little bit of reverb. This is always my reverb setup, so nothing changes right here. The observatory setup is really nice. I think maybe I've possibly tweaked these settings. Check how cool the interface is. Everything kind of vanishes based on, you know, how you clicked on it. Really cool. Shout out Eventide. But yeah, man, you know, just a little bit of delay here and there. You can see I've manually set up automation. I've done a video on it. You know, just kind of going crazy. Farai's hypersonic or hyperdrive pack, check that out in the description box for some cool SFX to kind of ease into your verses and that kind of thing. And yeah, and then I recorded this to an H3000. I've got one right here, and what I did was I actually recorded it through. So
In my head.
So it's very similar to this doubler that we had, you know. I think I actually had it on the H910 setting. So, you know, digital and analog very much similar. I just wanted to get that analog sound. But yeah, really not much else, man. The beat not really doing anything other than just cleaning up certain parts of it. And then a little bit of parallel compression, analog parallel compression. You know, again, MV2 parallel compression is always great. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, so definitely check the link in the description if you'd like to purchase one of these FLPs, so that you can yourself record a whole bunch of cool stuff. Iann Dior's on this wave. Travis Barker's going hard. As you can see, he collabed with Machine Gun Kelly, I think, on this track. But yeah, he's been crushing it. You know, there's a whole LA wave going, and you should definitely join in. So yeah, man, thank you for tuning in again. Definitely check out my vocal recording course, vocal mixing course, as well as vocal enhancer. And I will check you out next time. Stay well, smash that like button, and have a good day. Peace out.